Sexual behavior is a fundamental part of human nature, yet it's also one of the most taboo and misunderstood topics in our society. From gender expectations to cultural norms, our beliefs about sex can have a profound impact on our relationships and self worth. Today, we're going to explore the complex and often overlooked connections between sexual behavior and gender in our society. Whether you're a student, a parent, or simply curious about the world around you, this presentation will challenge your assumptions and broaden your understanding of this crucial topic. So, buckle up and get ready for an eye opening journey. So, let's start by defining sexual behavior.
Sexual behavior. Actions that humans agree to interpret as an explanation of their sexual motivations and intentions can be classified according to the aim of the behavior, generally erotic behaviors such that they involve any of the primary or secondary erotic zones, erotic, arousing sexual desires, intentions, or excitements. Erotic motivation may be self-direct, autoerotic, or can be direct on others. Examples: masturbation, autoerotic stimulation of one's genitals; fellatio, oral stimulation of the penis; cunnilingus, oral stimulation of vagina; copulation, insertion of the penis in vagina; non-copulatory sexual behavior, kissing, hugging, caressing; homoerotic behaviors, sexual behavior oriented to the same sex; heteroerotic behaviors, sexual behavior oriented to the opposite.
Now that we have explored various aspects of sexual behavior, let's delve into the factors that contribute to it. So there are four factors that contribute to sexual behavior. They are cultural, societal, religion, and sexual identity. When we say cultural, they are traditional taboos from different cultures. Like for example, sex between family members are prohibited. When we say societal, these are the decisions established within a community as a norm and is thus acceptable. Like for example, prohibition against prostitution, public nudity, and pornography. And when we say religion, it directs our moral understanding of what is acceptable or not. For example, prohibition against premarital sex and the use of contraception. And the last factor is our sexual identity. When we say sexual identity, these are our own personal thoughts, experiences, and beliefs towards our sexuality and what we consider acceptable in our conduct. So there's this thing we call human sex drive, and it is also known as libido. It is a person's overall sexual desire for our sexual activity. And this is influenced by biological, physiological, and psychosexual. So when we say biological, it is the human ability to have sex whenever they want, just for the sheer pleasure derived from the act. The second one is the physiological, and when we say physiological, it is our physical desire to experience the sex act as a release. And when we say psychosexual, it is the emotional component of the drive or what is in the mind and constitutes the most variable and individualistic aspect of the human sexual experience. Now that we have discussed the factors influencing sexual behavior, let's delve into two important concepts: erotic mold and sensorium, along with their respective elements.
Erotic modes is also known as love map. Is a term used to describe the concept of people inherent set of preferences and drives in their area of love, desire, and romance. While sensorium enables us to engage in sexual activity by allowing us to feel physical pleasure when stimulated, which is known as pleasure sensation. It is also responsible for the coordination of muscular movements, communication, and cognitive activities involved in sexual behavior. Elements: visual. Physical appearance is one of the main elements when it comes to being intimate with a partner, as it can tell you a lot about them without having to say a word. While olfactory. For many of us, the olfactory sense is one of the most significant and pleasurable aspects of our relationship with our partners. While tactile is a sense of touch that aids humans in perceiving the world and forming intimacy, tactile feelings plays an important role in how we interact with the world around us, and auditory stimuli play an important role in the forming of our thoughts and emotions around intimacy. Lastly, gratification. We humans are social beings, and physical connections of both minds throughout mutual sexual pleasure is an important part of it. Sexual intercourse brings satisfaction to our physical and mental needs and makes us feel connected with the person we are involved in. Many psychological, environmental, and biological factors come into play when it comes to our sexual drive and gratification.
After discussing erotic mold and sensorium, it's time to shift our focus to the various elements that make up sexual behavior.
Components of sexual behavior. 1. Fantasies, defined as the power or process of creating especially unrealistic or improbable mental images in response to psychological need, a mental image or series of a mental images as a daydream. Sexual fantasies can be achieved through mental images of a particular act or through cooperation and participation of a consenting partners. For others, particularly sexual offenders and serial killers, the mental fantasy or having a consenting partner is simply not enough. They have an overwhelming desire to fulfill their particular fantasy in reality. 2. Symbolisms. The practice of injecting something with a symbolic meaning or expressing one's innermost feelings through a visual or a sensual representation, and may translate to fetishes and partialism. Fetishes, when a normally neutral object is used for sexual excitement. Partialism is where someone has attached a sexual interest or feelings onto certain parts of the body such as breasts, buttocks, or legs. Both fetishes and partialism are normal and provided that they are practiced with consensual context and no other crime is committed. However, problems arise when persons have achieved an unhealthy attraction to a particular symbol that has become so important that it becomes a requirement for sexual gratification. Ritualism, repetitive patterns of behaviors, words, or gestures of a couple that carries out their personal sexual message. These rituals are normally for consenting partners. 4. Compulsion, the desire to repeat the sexual process in a particular manner every time and has both a psychological and biological basis. Generally, personal sexual behaviors only become a police or governmental problem when these sexual behaviors and interests go beyond mutually consensual acts and involve coercion, force, violence, or the exploitation of others.
Thank you for joining us today as we delve into the fascinating topic of sexual behavior, its contributing factors, and its components. We explored the diverse range of behaviors exhibited by individuals and how they are influenced by various biological, psychological, and sociocultural factors. Throughout our conversation, we discovered that sexual behavior is a complex interplay between nature and nurture. Biological factors such as hormones, genetics, and brain chemistry play a crucial role in shaping our sexual desires and preferences. Meanwhile, psychological factors like personal experiences, beliefs, and attitudes can greatly influence our sexual behavior. Remember, sexual behavior is a deeply personal aspect of our lives, and it's important to approach it with empathy, respect, and understanding. If you have further questions or would like to continue the conversation, please don't hesitate to seek out additional resources or engage in further discussions with professionals or trusted individuals in your community. Thank you once again for joining us today. We hope this discussion has provided valuable insights into the nature of sexual behavior and its contributing factors. Stay curious, stay informed, and continue to nurture healthy relationships and positive sexual experiences.